Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the Astrobots Hypherion from Toy Notch. Now once again, I bought this some time ago from AliExpress. Now I tend not to buy like certain figures from AliExpress due to whether it's actually real or was it fake or it doesn't actually arrive. But once again, the product did actually arrive, but of course there is one factor I should mention, is that it didn't exactly come in 100% safely, because when I actually received this, some parts were kind of disassembled, so as in like, you know, falling apart. Luckily nothing was broken, but concerning my experience with the previous products like the Vulcan, which was the yellow-black color scheme of this, which was more of a construction site design, while construction worker design, while this is more like an enforcer design. And the original first two releases, which were Apollo and Argus, which was like really top-notch, best articulation, like best balance in terms of a figurine. I really love those, so I was kind of surprised to see something disassembled from their quality. But once again, I was able to fix it, glue a few parts that were feeling a little bit too unstable, so I'm actually really happy about that. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Alright, so let's see. So this is actually a pretty big figure. Just to give you guys an idea, here we have a 1:1 44 scale Gunpla kit. You can see it's much taller, much more bulkier and bigger in general. So yeah, which obviously means it's much more expensive at the same time. Alright, so let's see what we got. So let me just check a few details here. Yep, there we go. Okay, so let's see what we got. Let's start with the head as usual. So once again, I would usually go over like components, but this is what you see is what you get. This thing does not use any weapons, so it's just all in the figure as well. So I believe like they actually Toy Notch did a collaboration with another company. I actually forgot their name, but I believe they are the company that does the Acid Rain series or something like that. Or something similar to that. However, they also made another unique design with their collaboration, like a cowboy mech, a cowboy android design that's very similar structure to Apollo and Argus, the first two releases. And that thing was supposed to have a pistol. However, due to like legal reasons, for some reason, they had to get rid of that. So I don't know. Toy Notch seems to have some struggle in terms of giving their figures or their characters with actual physical weapons. I'm not exactly sure why, but hopefully in the future, hopefully that improves. Alright, so let's see what we got. Now, here we have the head going on here. Now, one thing I do struggle with this type of design, this same goes for Vulcan to my previous reviewed version, is that the head is very stiff. But number two is that because all of this armor stuff going around, it's very hard to handle or even touch the head in general. So it's really hard to move the head around. But you can go up pretty good, and then you can see another reason why it's tricky is that you can see the neck joint is actually twisted. So I do have to move that around maybe a little bit. So yeah, so if I can fix that, that would be great. But for now, I can go, even with the neck joints facing the entirely wrong way, it can still go up pretty well and then go down, and it's supposed to look down a little bit very well as well. Now, because it's on a joint, it is capable of going 360 on its own. However, because of the design around it, it makes it very difficult or even impossible to rotate all 360. And once again, even if you do somehow successfully go 360, the neck joint is going to be all messed up. So I'm going to have to fix that aspect as well. Okay, now let's look at the obvious big body part going on here. So the body actually has a very nice ab crunch, so no problems there. Oops, I turned on the lights so no big deal. Now it does not have the side movement like what you see in certain kits and from Gunpla, but no, that's not the case. Now it looks like it has a round body shape, but it does not rotate 360 at all. It does not move at all, and I'm not gonna risk breaking it. Then again, I believe that even though it were to rotate, it's gonna be colliding with this canister here, and I believe you can take it out. However, it's not really meant to be that kind of thing, so I think they basically just locked the main body in place so you don't need to deal with this aspect as well. So because obviously if you keep rotating, this thing's going to be popping out very often. So in order to avoid or reduce any annoyance, I think that's what they did. So that's the only part I think they kind of got rid of for this specific design. And yeah, I can kind of understand that. Now, let's look at the arms. So let's look at the small arms first. So the arms, I believe these arms are pretty much the same structure as Apollo and Argus, the first two releases. So you have a very, very wonderful joint going on here, a butterfly joint, or the shoulder movement can go forward and backward going on here. I'm not even sure how this works. Maybe it's a gigantic ball joint that's, and this is the armor covering it. But yeah, they did an excellent job, unless this thing is the giant ball joint itself, because I'm not even sure how this works. And then obviously we have the arm that can go 360 on its own, and actually give me a moment, there we go. And then you can move the arm 90 degrees to the side, but with that extra joint and movement you can go even higher as well. And then bend wise, you get an excellent bend, very nice bend. And then hands, you can rotate 360. Now this part is a little bit stiff, but so do be careful. And then obviously we have the amazing individually articulated fingers as well. Now these, depending on your quality or QC, these may feel a little bit loose or too tight depending on your copy. So once again, just to give you guys an example, each finger joint moves individually as well, so you can pretty much do a lot of poses. Every time I do show this figure to someone, the first thing they do with the hands is always the middle finger. So yeah, I believe these were one of the parts that got disassembled. Well, not exactly disassembled. I'm not sure how, but I think on the other hand, I think the pinky fell out, so I had to actually disassemble the hand entirely and then reassemble just for that pinky. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah. Now let's look at the giant arm. Now since each arm is exactly the same from one another, I'm going to only look at one arm as well. So I believe originally from the box they should be all the way in like that. So this kind of locks it into place, and then you can now from here rotate or reposition the arm if you want to do so. Now this is, I wouldn't say crucial, but depending on what you're trying to do, this could be needed, because once you push it all the way in, it actually locks a certain joint here, so which allows you to move this entire arm itself. Now once you pull it out, you can see now you're moving not the arm itself but the joint with here together. So yeah, and once again, I have one issue I had was this. I think it was this side that wouldn't be pulling all the way out. Now it's currently pulled all the way out, so but depending on your copy, it could be kind of stuck in there, so make sure you pull all the way out. Now with this thing out, you can go upwards and downwards as well, because there is a joint obviously, and then obviously for the arm there is another joint here. So now this one is actually pretty stiff, so you can go all the way down like this and exactly 90 degrees like that onto the outer side. Now of course if you use this joint, you can go a little bit more upwards as well. Oh boy, now that is stiff. Okay, there we go. Then obviously it is a very strong ratchet joint. And then bend wise for the giant arm, like the basic arm, you get a excellent joint. Of course, because of the design, I don't think it goes all the way folded, but yeah, that's kind of expected to see in a giant design like this. And I absolutely love the arm design. My only wish is that now it looks like there's some sort of piston action here, but there is no or design wise, it looks like it's supposed to have some sort of piston action, but there's no actual action there. So I think that would have been really cool if you could like extend, and then this piston would like extend or go inside. That would be really cool. And once again, the hand is on a joint, so I'm not sure if this is considered a joint, but you can rotate this, and while you rotate the hand, you can also see this part spinning around together. So that's actually kind of cool. And finally, we have the gigantic hand. Now, this hand, I believe it was this side of the hand that was also disassembled, which I was able to reassemble. There's no screws here, so obviously reassembling on these hands are very easy. So once again, you have a little bit of joint here, so you have some extra movement as well. I wish I could fold it all the way inwards, but that's just not happening. And then each finger can move individually side to side as well, like the smaller hand. And once again, each individual joint exists. Now the only difference is that this has only 4 fingers compared to a regular human which would have 5 fingers. So yeah, so no big deal. The thumb is on the ball joint, but once again, it still has the basic joints right over here. So yeah. And once again, regarding the weapons, like I said, they even have all these pegs here, which is definitely meant for some sort of weapon. Even the small hand has a peg here, so I'm not sure what's really going on. Now granted, there was a weapon pack for Apollo and Argus, but once again, I would like to see maybe these figures to have their own weapons. There are a few more designs that needs to be released, and there is one specific, no, actually technically 2 specific designs I'm actually looking forward to, and hopefully they do come with something for the hands. All right, and finally let's look at the let's look at the legs here. So we have some front skirts that can move forward, side skirts that can move upwards. There is a back skirt. Once again, each side moves individually. It can go upwards as well. And then we have the very nice legs that can go forward 90 degrees almost. It's just the knee armor colliding backwards less than 90 degrees because of obvious design aspect. Now these parts it can go to the side 90 degrees, but no ratchet joint here. I think it would have been nice to have a ratchet joint. And as you can see, it's missing a screw here for some reason. I'm not really sure why, unless it's on the other side. Yeah, okay, so this is actually, so they made one leg and they just basically reversed it. So you can see there's no screw here, but the screw is actually on the other side. So that's what they did. So yeah. And then we get a nice side swivel going on here. Once again, not too tight, not too loose, so it's just the right strength. And then bend-wise, now that joint was a little bit stiff. You do get, I think this is roughly a 90-degree bend. It's just that the legs are just too thick. So yeah. Oh boy, that's tough. And it looks like we have some missile launcher looking things, but nothing actually opens up. And then we have these gigantic feet that you can extend lower like that on a joint. And then you can see the main connection itself is not a ball joint, but with multiple joints combined. So let's see, there we go. We have the feet here. You can extend them downwards like that, go upwards just a little bit, and then we have this toe section that can move upward as well, and then I believe it can go downwards. There we go. You can even go downward like that, although I'm not really sure exactly when you would be having your feet like that. I mean, obviously for a human that's not exactly possible. I mean, unless it's the toe. And then yeah, and these toe parts are supposed to move individually, but once again they're very stiff on certain parts, so I don't want to break anything. So hopefully I just didn't break anything, because that did not sound good. But yeah, you can move these toes individually, so that does actually help in terms of you know, making it stand on its own. And then finally we do have a pivot joint, but it does have a pivot joint, but it's very stiff and not the best, but it does get the job done. So if you do want to have a little bit split stance, you can always use these joints. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the figure. Now there is a light feature, which I think you guys just saw. Now I just did buy the batteries for this, so once again, I'm gonna come back with a certain pose with the lights on and explain what battery this thing uses. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have one of those poses going on here. So originally I was also trying to show you guys the LED. However, I don't know what just happened. I was working with the LEDs and then suddenly it just flickered like a little bit more brighter than usual, and then it just died off. I even just swapped the batteries just in case, and yeah, I think something short-circuited because the LEDs are just dead. But just wanted to point out, you should be able to turn it on and then go into a blinking mode and then turn off again. So the batteries that are required, because this thing does not come with an instruction manual, everything is written on the box, and they only show you where and how to put the batteries, but they don't really give out the information. So the batteries that you do need is what they call is a AG2 battery. You need 2 of them, and also installing them are very annoying because of not only the spring, but there's like this one metal piece, and then on the other side the spring, which technically should be locking the 2 batteries in place, but if you don't do it right, they will fly off immediately. So I think I just lost like 2 batteries as well on the process. Now, once again, I do love the fact that this guy has these other gigantic arms. So what you can do is just basically make the, regular arms just, lie around, do the overall, overall pose stance where he's chill, and then his other big arms doing the job for him. So yeah, currently I have a basic Hot Wheels mainline car, which is trying to be crushed at the moment. So yeah, I would say these are pretty fun figures. Now these things also do have like some comic book, which I am trying to like purchase the physical copy, but if I can't, I'll probably just go with the digital copy and read it. So I'm kind of curious how the story goes with these guys as well, because once again there is lore on these characters, so kind of curious how that works out. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the review. So this was the review of the Toy Notch Astrobots Hypherion. So Toy Notch is the company, Astrobots is its series / brand name, and Hypherion is the name of this character. Hopefully this review was interesting or helpful for those who were considering on getting this. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.